Hello everyone, Fanta here. You're watching FANTAVISION, and today, another Tales from Retail. And this one actually comes from Luke-O. Thank you for this wonderful idea, and that is, how did retail change you? How did it change your mindset? Basically, what did it do to you as a person? And I've definitely mentioned what it really does throughout the entire series and as to why I made this series in the first place. And if you look in the comments section, you'll see a trend that a lot of people are glad that they're not the only ones that feel this way. They're glad that there's some sort of video series they can watch as some sort of therapy. There's all of these people that talk about just how awful it was to work retail, and that's because it really is awful. And I mean, these people, they need a therapy of some sort because it was that bad. And that's how bad it is. That's how it affects you. I mean, you're going to work every single day, making minimum wage usually. I mean, there are definitely the exceptions of of that statement. But most of the time, you're working minimum wage. You've got a boss that normally doesn't care about you. You've got the boss above that boss that treats you even worse. And then you've got a couple of coworkers that are okay, and the rest are just as bad as the customers. Talking about the customers are basically surrounded by idiots and people that believe that they are above you. They look at you like you are less than dirt. And I explain all this in, I think, my most popular video, which is the why Walmart workers look so depressed. Why are they just completely, they look dead to this world. They look completely dead inside. And that's just because the environment they work in. And I describe that environment, and that's just Walmart. And there are plenty of other bad environments that people have to work in when it comes to retail. People talk about Toys R Us in the comments. People are talking about Target. Their Target is terrible. And I've definitely seen some awful Targets. I can't imagine working in them. People working at gas stations. Basically, anything that works with the general public is going to be a nightmare. And that's because, like I've said, my description of how people look at you when you work with the general public, especially if you work at a place like Walmart, or really, I guess, pretty much any retail establishment, but mostly Walmart, those customers will look down on you. Those customers, they feel like they have like this air of superiority about them, and they act like you don't know anything about what you're talking about. You may be working in the electronics department, and you may know every single product and every single fact about the product, but you know what? They're going to doubt every single word that comes out of your mouth, despite the fact that you don't work on commission. And that's just because it's not like they're looking to not get scammed. They just think you're an idiot. And you know what? Sometimes they're right. Sometimes the people that work at these places are stupid, and I've definitely run into them. But give them the benefit of the doubt. Wait for them to prove that they're stupid at least. Don't just come in with this preconceived notion that they are stupid and you're just going to talk down to them and that you're going to belittle them and that you're going to swear at them if something doesn't go your way. Treat them like another human being, because that's not what you get a lot of when you're working retail. You get a lot of shitty people. And after working your 8-hour day, you get home and you're just exhausted. And the thing about a lot of retail places, and most jobs that aren't an office job, is you're not working Monday through Friday. You may have split days off. So when you have these split days off, you never get to recover. You never have that recovery period that is necessary for a 40-hour-a-week job, especially when you're dealing with the general public. Because like I said, it's just exhausting. You don't know what it's going to be like that day. Every day is completely random, because unlike an office job, there are these variables just walking in to your place of work. Not only do you have to do your daily tasks and get everything cleaned and get everything taken care of, you have to deal with these random variables coming in that may just completely ruin your day. You may have some random guy say, hey, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to take it out on you. I'm going to bother you. I'm going to get your manager. I'm going to get you written up. I'm going to waste hours of your time and just stress you the hell out. And I've had plenty of those people, plenty of those customers. And you don't have to deal with that in an office job. Which, as much as if you work in an office job, as much as it sucks, I'm telling you, it's still better than working with the general public. Even if you don't like your coworkers, whatever. You only have to deal with those specific people. You don't have a different asshole coming in every day. And most likely those coworkers are not looking for a manager to bitch at. If they are, and you do work in a toxic work environment, there's an HR and there's definitely things that you can do within that company to remedy the situation. But when it comes to customers, they're not like coworkers. If you have a problem with a customer, tough shit. They're the king. The customer is always right. Even if their credit card isn't working and they're starting to get upset with the clerk just because she's saying, do you have another card because this one is not working? You go out of your way, that customer goes out of his way and just calls the manager, makes a big shitstorm about it. Like, you don't have to deal with that sort of thing in an office. But you do when you're working retail. And I don't know how people came to this idea that they think that acting like this as an adult is okay. Where were they taught that in school? What shitty parents did they have that taught that behavior was acceptable in society? Because I'm pretty sure it's not anywhere except for in a retail environment. Because it feels like customers think that they're allowed to just unleash their anger at these people. They're allowed to say whatever they want to these people. Whereas in another environment with just some other random person, they would never act that way. But because they're in this retail environment, their mindset is completely changed. Because they're there to buy things, they think that you are subservient to them. Despite the fact that you're not there making a ton of money. You're not there selling the product, really. You're just helping them find the products that they want to buy. It's so strange that human behavior changes so drastically in that environment. And that's why I feel like retail really made me a more bitter person towards the general populace. You see all colors of humanity. You definitely do see the good. You do see the good, but it's rare. It's incredibly rare. Even when I was working at good stores, still, it was rare. I guess at GameStop was a little bit better for sure, but Walmart, it was just a nightmare. There were barely any nice customers. There were a bunch of tolerable ones, but rarely were there nice ones. GameStop, there were definitely a number of outliers, but I guess there had to have been because I worked there for 4 years. You'd hope there'd be a lot more outliers than my 8 months at Walmart. And it's also a different environment. I guess they don't look down on you as much in GameStop, but GameStop is really the exception. And I don't know if that same mindset would exist now with GameStop, because GameStop was not hated as much as it is now. Now GameStop is burning and sinking into the ocean, and everybody is laughing and throwing more fire onto the ship, hoping it sinks faster. So I don't know what the general feeling is towards GameStop employees. I've definitely got a lot of negative comments towards GameStop employees in my comment section, and I do understand there are definitely a lot of shitty GameStop employees out there, but they're not all that way. But if you treat them, if you preemptively think that they're going to be shitty, so you treat them shitty first, you're part of the problem. Please do not do that. And with this whole negative outlook on the populace, I've gotten a little bit better, But it's also hard with the news. It's hard when I just kind of go out in public and I still see people treating retail workers shitty. I'm on YouTube, for crying out loud. I can't really have my mindset shift from, oh, people are really shitty, they're awful to each other, they will walk on whoever it just happens to be there, when I'm now a YouTuber and I get the same sort of thing in the comment section. I still get mostly nice people in the comment section. A lot of you are wonderful, amazing people. But negativity definitely sticks with you, unfortunately, more than positivity. And I don't know why the human brain does that, but it definitely does. If you listen to plenty of YouTubers, they talk about that. There's so many YouTubers out there that say they don't even read the comments because they can't handle it, because there's too much negativity. Despite the hundreds of thousands of comments that they get that are completely positive, the negative ones are the ones that unfortunately stick with us. And that's the same thing with retail. That's why I don't remember, and why I said, oh, GameStop was just as bad as Walmart. And I had to think. I had to think harder to remember the good people, because I could only remember the bad. So it makes a job like retail like swimming through the comments section on YouTube. You're going to have a lot of decent people, but you're also going to have a lot of shitheads. And the shitheads are going to stick with you. And then when you don't have those 2 days off to recover, you're just going to burn out. And I felt like a lot of days I was definitely burnt out. Going to school full time, working almost full time at GameStop, I was feeling burnt out. I don't remember how many hours I worked at Walmart. I feel like my brain has suppressed a lot of the details of Walmart. I know it wasn't full time because it was like incredibly difficult to get a full time position there. But whenever I worked any amount of time at Walmart, it felt like time just slowed down. Even if the day was incredibly busy, it just felt like time dragged on. And another thing that really changed with my mindset is I do appreciate retail workers more. And I feel like, it's funny seeing all these comments saying, I feel like everybody should work a year in retail. I don't necessarily think everybody should work a day or year in retail. I think just people need to reflect more. You shouldn't have to, actually walk in their shoes to give some respect to these people. Just self-reflect on your actions, how you treat these people. Think about, would I want to be treated this way? This is such simple, basic, elementary school shit that I shouldn't have to say it. But that's why my mindset got so negative, because I couldn't believe the way people were treating each other. Because it's that such elementary mindset. Treat others how you want to be treated. It's like the first thing you're taught as a child. Don't be a dickhead. And what do these people do? They treat everybody in the store like shit. It doesn't matter. The regular employees, the managers, just everywhere. They're just trying to spew their anger as far as they can and just unloading whatever is going on in their life on some poor, unsuspecting retail worker. But yeah, that's why I picked this as the background picture. So you're in retail. That explains the drinking. And yeah, I definitely drank a lot more when I was working in retail. I know a lot of people think I'm an alcoholic now, and people get worried, but I assure you, I'm really not. I have like a beer in this video and like 1 or 2 other times during the week, and that's it. But when I was working retail, maybe you guys would have been a little bit more worried for me, because you don't have the time to decompress, so you try to just speed up that feeling. You try to get relaxed as quickly as possible, and the fastest way was alcohol. And that's why you see a lot of retail workers outside smoking. I mean, smoking is like, it's 2019. Like, it's weird to see somebody with a cigarette. No offense to anybody who smokes, honestly. No offense. You got addicted at some point. I'm sure you You hate that you're addicted to it. I mean, it tastes like shit. You wake up the next day, you still taste it. It just tastes awful. So when you see all those people outside smoking and, outside of a Walmart, hell, you see it all the time outside of restaurants, because I'm sure being a chef is incredibly stressful. But all those people outside of that Walmart, outside of that Target, outside of any of those stores, smoking is because they're doing the same thing that I was doing at home, except they're doing it at work because they're that stressed out. And they're most likely full-time employees. They're probably trying to support a family on either minimum wage or just a little bit above. Some of them have to work overtime, almost mandatory sometimes. Yeah, you make a little bit extra money, but that mental and physical toll, depending on what they're doing in that retail job, I don't know that it's worth it. And that's why I'm sure if you went outside Amazon facilities, there'd be a lot of people not taking their lunch break, and they'd probably be smoking, because that would be an incredibly stressful job at one of those warehouses. I can't even imagine. And the thing is, with a lot of people, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that will, again, go in the comment section and they'll say, yeah, Fanta, well, you may have had a difficult time at Walmart, but have you done warehouse work? Have you done construction? Have you done this? Oh, so much worse, you little pussy bitch. It's like, that's not the point of this series. That's not the point. The point is for you to realize, yeah, your job may suck, but this one does too. Your job doesn't have to suck more for that one to not suck. I don't really get this pissing contest that a lot of people have with this. Just realize that retail sucks. That's all I'm trying to convey here. I'm just telling you how it was and hoping that you take that in mind the next time you go to one of these places. The next time you think about shopping at Walmart, how you're going to treat those people that work there. Or maybe you'll decide, I'm not going to shop at Walmart because I know how they treat these workers. I'm going to shop at this place instead because I know they treat the workers better. I'm not asking you to make that sacrifice. I'm not asking you to boycott Walmart. I'm not asking you to do any of these things. I'm just putting these seeds in your mind and allowing you to make the decision yourself. There's a lot of times where I do try to avoid Walmart, but there are also those other times where I don't really have a choice because they're open 24/7 and it happens to be like midnight and I'm a moron and I forgot some sort of groceries. But I created this series because of how retail affected me. And I knew that this series would bring light to what is happening in these stores so people would hopefully recognize maybe that they are part of the problem and will stop acting like that. They'll stop acting like immature, shitty children. Or if they're working retail, they'll self-reflect and realize, oh, I'm in that situation right now. I need to get out for my mental health. Because I've also gotten the comments where people are like, yeah, I'm 10 years deep. Because they settled. They were miserable, but they continued to settle. And that's what happens with a lot of people. And I did that when I was at GameStop. I settled because it was okay. It wasn't horrifyingly bad, but it was okay. I settled. But after I did some self-reflection, I remembered, oh wow, they had these crazy goals. I mean, they treated me poorly. They denied me promotions for stupid reasons. They did these weird, shady things, like when they were giving me a raise, they tried to downplay how much work I did there. They did all these little things that didn't really come to mind until after the fact. So I'm hoping that I can outreach to these people and help you realize during your work at this retail place what might be also going on to you. Hey, my manager is being a piece of shit to me. They do belittle me all the time. They don't support me when a customer is coming after me. They don't back me up. I should find another job. I can do more with my life than work for this corporation that couldn't give two shits about me if I died. That's what I was hoping that this series would do, because I feel like a lot of people out there, they wait for some other opportunity to pop up. And they don't realize that they're just waiting. They just kind of settle in to a routine. They get stuck into it. 10 years have gone by. You're still working at Walmart. You're still working at Target. You're still working at GameStop. And you're making a little bit above minimum wage, because minimum wage keeps going up, and these places will slightly keep up a little bit farther. But if you look at your trajectory, you're basically just keeping up with minimum wage the entire time. And I'm hoping that more people will realize that before it's too late, before you've realized that you've wasted your potential. So that's what I learned from retail. That's because I saw a lot of people that definitely did get stuck in that rut. And some of the assistant managers were in that rut, and they would confide in me about how miserable they were and how they felt like they wasted their lives because they got complacent. They weren't happy, but they just got in the routine of coming into work, working their 8 hours, going home, drinking. And that's what a lot of my GameStop managers did too. I had one of them who gained a ton of weight, used to be a bodybuilder and all this other stuff, but now he just worked, went home, and drank. So I don't want any of you guys to have that happen to you. I don't want you to be complacent. I don't want you to be stuck in a miserable situation. And I hope this series helps you get out of it, if you are. But yeah, there you go. That's how retail affected me. And like I said, my mindset has gotten better. Not a whole lot better, but it gets better every year. I feel like every year gets a little bit better, and I hope that if you were in my situation at my Walmart, or you're just in a bad situation, that you do get out. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening to another episode of Tales from Retail. I really do hope you guys have been enjoying the series, and there's definitely more to come. Please keep submitting ideas down below. This was again a user suggested one. Thank you again. I'll always thank them in the top comment from now on. I'll pin it, and I'll mention your name in the video, because you're helping me recall certain aspects, certain topics that I might not even thought of to cover. And if I can provide some insight that might help some people, that's fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, I hope you all have a fantastic day. See you guys. Today, I'm drinking Tank 7 by Boulevard Brewing Co. It's an American session ale. It is 8.5% alcohol. It's strong. It's very strong, but it's also very smooth, very easy drinking. It's pretty delicious. I can drink one, and that's it. I'm a very lightweight, because like I said, I don't drink very often anymore. So, big time lightweight. Podcasts should be up early on Patreon tonight. So if you are a patron, $1 or more, it's only $1 to get early access to that. So go check it out. Go listen to it. I think it's pretty great. It's strip club stories with Eric again. More crazy Amazon stories. And he also went to the strip club with his buddy Marco, so you get to hear a little bit more stories about him. Because I know, well, I guess you don't know unless you've been to some streams, but if you've been to some streams, you've heard some crazy stories from Marco. Hopefully at some point in the future, we'll get him on the podcast, but he's going to be shipped off for about 2 years, so who the hell knows when he'll be back here, and if he comes back, he probably doesn't want to shoot a 2-hour podcast. He's probably going to go back to the strip club and get wasted again. So maybe, who knows?